Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got baby back ribs on the pit barrel cooker. Let's get into it. Alright guys, that's right. We're going to do baby back ribs today. So I'm going to be showing you how to do backyard style baby back ribs. We are going to be using our pit barrel cooker today, and we're going to use some Texas Barbecue Chapter barbecue seasoning. This stuff is fantastic, great color, great flavor. I'll definitely leave the link down below so you can go check it out. And we're also going to use Cosmo's cherry habanero barbecue sauce. This stuff's got a nice little heat to it, and it's got the sweet with it. So man, let's get into this video. Alright, to get started on this cook, guys, I got us a rack of baby back ribs from my local HEB. We're going to go ahead and get them cut out of the package. And what I like to do again is I like to cut along one side and keep this like an envelope. Keep all of the juices inside the package and not all over the place. So we're just going to cut it out just like this. Alright, so now we got our baby back ribs out of the package. We got them onto our rack. We don't really see anything that's really too crazy on here to trim off, but I do have just a little bit hanging off here on the end, so I just want to go ahead and get that off. And guys, you just basically want to make sure you don't have anything hanging off the ribs that looks like it's going to crisp up and burn up on you during the cooking process. So that's all I'm really doing. You really don't have to do much to baby back ribs when you get them. Got a little bit of a flap here on the back side, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off. And again, I'm using my Victorinox 6-inch boning knife, guys, and pretty much all of the supplies that I use in my videos, you can find them down in the links below. Now, this is what we're going to do. We're doing backyard cooking, guys. There's no rules. I've got a membrane here. I'm going to leave it on. Wait, what do you mean leave it on? Everybody says you have to take the membranes off. I'm going to leave the membrane on here today, and let's see what happens. There's no rules to this cook, guys. So that's how we're going to roll today. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get these ribs seasoned up. Today we're going to be using this barbecue chapter. It's pretty much just an all-purpose barbecue seasoning. So I'll put the links down below for this too, but we're going to go ahead and get this seasoned up. And this rub has a very good color to it, and it tastes really good straight out of the package too. So we'll make sure we get the sides of our ribs. Then we're going to flip it over, and we're going to get the meat side. Alright guys, so just like that, it was that fast and easy to get these ribs all trimmed. I know we didn't really have to do much to it, but we got it all seasoned up here, and it's ready to go on our smoker. So I've got one more rack of ribs that I'm going to pull out to smoke along with this. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'm going to meet you guys at the pit barrel cooker. That's right, we're using the pit barrel cooker today, and I'm going to show you how we're going to get that pit barrel lit up to get this cook going. Alright, so I'll see you at the pit barrel. Alright guys, so hey, as I said, we're going to be using our pit barrel cooker today, and we're going to be running it with some B&B. I like to use this competition oak briquettes whenever I do cooks like this that are, you know, some longevity cooks. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, if you haven't used a pit barrel cooker, I'm going to explain how this works right quick. It's basically a little drum cooker that has rebar as part of its venting system that you hang your meat on. So to get it lit up, you have to pull your little charcoal basket out, and you're going to fill this charcoal basket with your briquettes, or if you want to use lump, whatever you want to use, but you fill it up with whatever you're going to be using to cook with. We're using B&B. Then you take your little charcoal basket that I purchased from Pit Barrel that, you know, is perfect size for being able to get in and out of this barrel to dump your charcoal. So you're going to pull out about 1/4 of the charcoal that you put in your charcoal basket and put it in your charcoal chimney, and that's what you're going to light up. So today we're going to be using some cherry wood chunks. So I'm going to spread some cherry wood chunks around inside that charcoal basket, and then we're going to take that charcoal basket and return it back to our pit barrel cooker. We're lighting up our charcoal chimney with the tumbleweed, and we're going to let that burn for approximately 12 minutes or so before we're going to go ahead and bring it over to the pit barrel cooker, and we'll dump it into the charcoal basket to get the rest of these charcoals lit. So what you want to do is, once you get that charcoal on, you want to make sure you're ready to get your meat on, or you need to put the lid back on, put your rebar back in, because you don't want this pit to get too hot. Now, what temperature are we going to be cooking at? I really don't care. The pit barrel, I don't ever measure temperatures because I like to cook by feel. And I know guys out there, you're going to be, well, I need to know this and I need to know that. Well, I'm trying to show you guys that we can do this by feel, and it's really not that big a deal. This thing can get really super hot if you leave the lid off, so that's why you want to leave the lid on, and you want to have your rebar in the way that it's supposed to help control or regulate those temperatures. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our ribs hung and get this cook going. Alright, let's go. Alright guys, so we got our ribs here, and I've got one of my hooks that I'm going to be using in the pit barrel cooker. And so this is what we're going to do. What I do is I go to the thick part of the rib, not the thinner part, but the thicker part of the rib, and I'll come down a couple of bones. And that basically just gives me a lot of structure to be able to hold on to this rib if anything were to happen, like overcooking it. You know, you just got more to hold on to the rib there. So I'm going to go into that right between the second and third bone. You guys can see here, there's 1, 2, here's the third. So I'm going right in the middle of that, and I'm going to push this hook through. And now this is ready to go onto the pit barrel cooker. So I'll get the second one hung here. And again, I can feel that bone there. 1, 2. Here's the third. So I'm going to go right there in between the second and third bone. Push it through. And now we've got our ribs ready to go onto our pit barrel cooker, guys. Alright guys, so hey, as you just saw, we just got our ribs put over here onto our pit barrel cooker. We're rolling it with our post oak briquettes and some cherry wood today. And what we're going to do now is we're going to let these smoke away here for the next hour or so. We're doing this by feel, guys. I'm trying to show you how you barbecue with feel. It doesn't matter if you're using a pit barrel cooker or a Weber kettle or an offset or a pellet smoke. It really doesn't matter. We're doing the same basic principles at the beginning of our cook. We're going to smoke to color. We're not worried about temperature or any of that. You can smoke at 200, 225, 250, 275, 3. It really doesn't matter. We're smoking the color first, okay? So you guys have the freedom. There's no rules in backyard barbecue. Cook however you want. So just, you know, do whatever feels right for you. But we're going to smoke the color on the first part of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back here in about an hour. We're going to check our ribs, and what we're going to be looking for is to see if they're drying out, if they're cooking too fast. If they are, we're going to spritz them. We're going to keep them nice and moist and let it keep rolling until we get to the color we want. So what we're going to do is let this go for 1 hour, and we'll come back and I'll see you guys in an hour or in a few seconds. Alright guys, so hey, it's been an hour. We're coming back here, we're going to check it out, and we're going to be really quick with what we do. The thing about the pit barrel cooker is you want to be quick and keeping your lid on as much as you possibly can, because that's what helps control your temperatures along with the rebar venting system. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull these ribs out, we're going to check them out, see how they're cooking, and we're going to spritz them. What we're going to spritz with today is going to be a butter spray, just to, you know, whatever butter spray. You can spritz with whatever you want, guys, water or juices or teas or beers or whatever you want to do. It really doesn't matter. You just want to moisturize your ribs. So we're going to go ahead and crack this open. We're going to check our ribs. We're going to moisturize them with this butter spray, and we're going to get them back on and get it closed up. All right, so let's do it. Alright gang, so hey, we just got these ribs checked after the 1 hour mark. We got them spritzed down with our butter spray. We've got it back on our pit barrel cooker and we're smoking away again. So I'm going to come back and check it in about another hour and see where our color is then. Again, there's no rules to this cook, guys. Customize it for you. If the color is fine right here after an hour, cool. Wrap them and go from there to tenderize them. If not, go another hour like I'm gonna do, and if you get to that hour and it still doesn't look like the color you want, keep going. You just want to smoke this first part of this cook to the color that you're looking for on the rib, guys. That's all it is. All right, so I'm gonna let this go for another hour and we'll be back then. All right. Hey guys, I just wanted to make sure I explained to you that today this video is a collaboration with my brother Tommy over at the Gallery Backyard Barbecue. Tommy is a fantastic guy. He's got a great channel and it's growing big time. So make sure you go over and check out that video. I'll have the link down below so you can go check out his channel and just tell him the Dawgfatha sent you. Alright? Alright, so let's get back to these ribs over here on the pit barrel cooker. Yeah. Alright guys, it's been another hour, so we're going to go ahead and take a look. Got a good color here on the back. So we're going to go ahead and spray here. And we are looking good on the meat side. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray it here because I'm going to let it go just a little bit longer. And the same thing here on the second rack. Alright, we're going to get this hung back in here. We're going to keep it going and we'll come back in about 45 minutes. Alright guys, so hey, it's been about 30 minutes. I know I said I was going to go 45 minutes, but I figured 30 minutes is probably going to be a good time for us. So we last checked it at the 2 hour mark. We went ahead and sprayed down the ribs again and let it keep going for this additional 30 minutes. Now, I've gotten the color that I want, so now it's going to be time to pull the ribs off. So I'm just going to explain to you what we're going to do. All we're going to do is what we normally do with all of our rib cooks. We've got the color that we want. Now it's time for us to tenderize the ribs. So we're going to put them in aluminum foil. I'm going to spray aluminum foil with my same butter spray that we used earlier to go ahead and spritz these ribs with. And we're going to wrap it up and get it back on this pit barrel cooker and get it tenderized to the point that we want. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and crack this thing open and get these ribs out and get it wrapped. So let's go. Alright guys, so hey, we just got these ribs off of the pit barrel cooker and we got them wrapped up in our foil and we just returned it back to our pit barrel cooker to get the tenderizing part of this cook done. So I mentioned earlier that we're doing this cook by feel. What exactly does that mean? Well, again, we just went to the color that we wanted, so that was the first part of the cook. We're smoking to the color. We're not concerned about internal temperatures. We're not concerned about anything except for what that color of the rib looked like when we wanted to go ahead and wrap it. So that's what we did. So what I paid attention to as I was getting ready to wrap these ribs was, as I handled the rack of ribs, how firm were they? You know, when you pick up a rack of ribs, it'll have a little bit of bend to it, but it didn't have a really big bend to it. It didn't really feel really loose and kind of like it was just going to flop over itself. So I know it needs to be tenderized, right? So that's what I'm feeling for when I'm getting ready to wrap the ribs. That to me is what's going to determine how long I'm going to leave these ribs wrapped on the cooker. Again, it doesn't matter if I'm using a pit barrel cooker, a Weber kettle, an offset, a pellet smoker. It really doesn't matter. This is all about your method and technique and how you figure out what you need to do for each stage of the cook. So again, we're tenderizing right now. So based on the way that these ribs felt to me, I'm gonna let these go for about 45 minutes or so, and we'll come back and take a look then. What are we gonna look for when we come back to take a look? Well, we're gonna pick up the ribs and we're gonna feel just how floppy they are. If they're really, really floppy, that means they're really, really probably, for me, overcooked. But that just means it's gonna fall off the bone. If it's still really rigid, it means it hasn't really rendered enough to be tender like we want them. So it's all going to be gauging how well those ribs bend and what they feel like. That's what we're going for, is feel here, guys. We're not going for internal temperature or anything like that. It's all about feel. So we're going to give these 45 minutes wrapped up to tenderize, and I'll bring you back then. Alright guys, it's been 45 minutes here since we started the tenderizing, so we're going to give it a check here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up our rack of ribs and we're looking to feel just how well they bend. And these are bending very well. So these are going to be done to where I can pull these off. We're going to check our second rack here. And again, these are bending very well as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these off. Alright guys, so we got these ribs pulled off here a minute ago. And it looks like they've gotten to the tenderness that we want. So we're going to actually make this into like a little foil tray here. So we're going to form our foil so we can get it soft here. Alright, so now we've got these ribs ready to go. We're going to go ahead and get these sauced. And today we're going to be using some Cosmos cherry habanero sauce. So let's get these back on the pit barrel cooker and let's get them glazed. So we're just going to take our sauce and I'm just going to liberally pour it on. Just like that. We'll get this grill closed up and let it glaze for about 15 minutes. Alright guys, so let's recap what we did today. We got us a couple of baby back ribs from our local HEB, and we went ahead and seasoned them up today with our Texas Barbecue Chapter barbecue seasoning. We went ahead and got that on our pit barrel smoker today, which we fired up with some B&B oak briquettes and some cherry wood today. We went ahead and we got that smoked up to the color that we wanted, and then we went ahead and we wrapped it up into our foil and we kind of tenderized it until we got to where it got a good little bend to it. We didn't use any temperature probes today. We didn't check any internal temperatures. We didn't check tenderness by poking it with a probe or a toothpick. We did today's cook all by feel, guys, and I encourage you to really get out there and start playing around with that feel factor. And I tell you what, if you get that down, you'll be able to transfer that to any cooker that you use. So after we got our ribs tender the way we wanted them, we went ahead and glazed them with Cosmos cherry habanero barbecue sauce. Once we got that glazed for about 15 minutes, we pulled them off and let them rest, and we went ahead and sliced them up. So I said we get over here and give them a taste. All right, so let's do it. All right, so these ribs came out really good here, guys. It's got a great smoke color to it, and man, look at that red color there from that that rub and from the sauce. It's looking pretty good, and I think it came out pretty tender. So man, let's give it a taste. Alright guys, hey, I'm gonna get into this rib, but again, as I always like to tell you guys, if you like what you saw here today, you might want to check out a couple of these videos here, or also subscribe right there. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.